Good evening, afternoon, something, whatever it is, whatever this is. I don't know. Depends on where you're from. Let me get us switched over here. Welcome back to Unratified. Um, I'm one of your hosts, Matt, and this guy over there, is Josh. Been a few weeks since we had a podcast. Between us getting things done and things happening on the weekends, it's um, been difficult to hit up. So we're starting a little late today. You know, just because of the Easter holiday. You know, can't quite do things. Uh, all kinds of celebration. Yeah, I celebrated furries. Doesn't everybody? We celebrate furries. Big giant bunny rabbits, right? What else was it going to be? Big giant lizard? I don't. I think today is the bunny rabbit day. No, no, I think today is the bunny rabbit with the basket full of its offspring. I believe. Well, it's unborn offspring. We have to make sure we. You and you color them. You paint them different colors to show diversity. Man, that doesn't happen for like 2 days from now. What are you talking about? Anyways, or was it? No, yeah, today. What? I don't know. I don't know all that. I used to know it. And then today is when he finds the eggs hidden around the tomb, right? I don't know. You were the one celebrating, not me. You should bring that up. You should, you should, you should in the middle of the sermon. I got a question right here. Hey, I'm just wondering.
And I don't know how he exactly he got on the subject. He was so they had this altar in front of the in front of where the sermon was, or I'm sorry, the pastor was giving his sermon, and he was saying, hey, come down here, get on your knees, and and pray. He wasn't telling people to do it. He was kind of like
Oh
coaxing
yeah,
them.
offering people to come up to the
Yeah.
altar to do whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then he's like, and get down on your knees. He's like, because that's where you belong, and that's where you're like you're most at home. And I was just like, yeah, you are. Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm just smiling, and my friend's daughter, I was sitting next to her, and like I'm just sitting there just dying laughing, but like chuckling, but like not out loud. And she looks at me, and then she shakes her head. And then her mom ducks her head underneath, and she looks at me, and she goes like this. Like,
That's see, you're supposed to go up there You're supposed to get down on your knees, assume the position and to show your servitude to daddy. And you
That's kind of
say,
what it felt
and you,
like.
you say, yes, daddy.
Unfortunately,
And,
I don't know, man. I don't. I definitely don't knock religion, and I think I think it works for a lot of people. I it doesn't do it for me. And then there's like you said, there's the servitude part of it, and there's the well,
well,
like a couple of the songs that they were singing, um, was like Jesus, your name is the greatest name, like, yeah, King Jesus, and it's like it's
which is
like, but
really funny.
do we really need a king? Like,
Which
do
is well, no, no, which is really funny because Jesus is a wonderful name, and the funny part about that is it is not a normal name for a European or Judeo-Christian. It's not normal
well, and
in
it
the
doesn't seem to me.
Anglo-Saxon.
Well, and it's not a normal name in Arabic either, which is where it would have been derived from anyways, right?
I don't know about Arabic.
Well, I guess it would have come from Hebrew,
Spanish,
right?
yes. Spanish,
But
yes.
no,
So,
I'm saying, but it would have come from Hebrew, right? I
or
mean, I
I
mean,
can't answer. I can't answer that question. I don't know. So,
hmm.
but I do know that it is, of the Anglo-Saxon leaning people that I know of, ain't nobody called a Jesus.
Hmm.
ain't, ain't a single person called Jesus.
Yeah, so it kind of begs the question: is the name made up, or is it?
No, no,
Uh,
no, no, no. It's not made up. It's just of a different origin. So when you see the brown haired, white skinned, blue eyed guy
yeah,
named Jesus, just remember he's from Norway. You didn't know that?
right, exactly.
Anyways, sorry. I think
Anywho,
for the first 5 minutes. By the way, I didn't have your microphone turned on, so nobody heard what you said. But that's fine. It's no big deal.
oh yeah,
I turned it
I
on. I turned
I
it
wa-
on when you started your story
I
about
mean,
church.
dude, honestly, I wasn't saying anything important, anyways.
I don't think either of us ever do.
Yeah, not really.
Okay. So, anyways, so aside from the wonderful religious things going on today,
Hallelujah.
anything else?
No, that's all I got. As
Yeah,
far as I
me
mean,
too.
what's going on with you?
Well, aside from spending an inordinate amount of time going through Article One and just kind of revising, refining, and doing that. That's kind of been other side projects that I'm working on. That's kind of been taking up quite a bit. I stayed up way too late one night doing it. I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, like going through the different. And I was like, I just one more section, just one more section. I felt like I was playing. Felt like I was playing Factorio or something, or the factory must grow. The factory must grow. That was terrible. Um, so it's okay, Mom. Just one more quest. I swear. One more match. One
Mu-
more.
must must generate more revenue.
One
Must
more turn. I
yeah.
swear I'll be done. No. Um, but anyways, we have a relatively cohesive and comprehensive. Um, I'd like to think Article One. I think it's all right that we're going to be posting. I'm going to be posting here on our Reddit and cross posting it to some other law-based subreddits to see what they have to say for it and let people pick it apart. I mean, there is so many things that two people will miss. So I'm hoping to get if
Yeah.
I'm thinking what I'll do because I heard that this is the easiest way to get feedback on something is to it's not to say that somebody it's to say that somebody is wrong, or is it no to say something? What how does it go? Don't 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 say you're right. Go in and say how you're doing it wrong, and then you'll have plenty of feedback or something like that. Isn't that how that works on the internet?
I don't know if I've ever heard that cliche or that put
It's
quite that
something.
way, but I kind of like it. Yeah, you say, yeah, you go out and you say, hey, everybody, tell me what's wrong with this, and then you kind of go from there.
Or it's something. I can't remember what it is, but as long as you post something that is wrong on Reddit, and people will be tripping over themselves to tell you how wrong you are. So yeah, I just have to post it and say, hey, this is the perfect document, and there is nothing wrong with it, and I will
Then we're
have
good. Then we're good
plethora
to go.
of people saying, well, what about this? So I think we're good.
All right, let's do it.
So on that vein, we'll be posting that probably this week. I know Josh is doing his once over, um, and hopefully we'll get something posted this week, and then we'll just continue on with Article 2 like we're going to today. I hope everybody's
All right.
excited. I'm so excited. I'm so stoked to work on Article 2.
I'm super wet right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't take him anywhere, folks. I cannot take him anywhere. All right, hold on a second here. Let me do something real quick. Go ahead and talk for me, Josh. Hopefully it picks you up.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, okay. You're good. All right, cool. Hopefully it captures it. If not, then we're just going to do this whole podcast without you being able to talk. You'll
Yeah,
be there. Your picture will be there, but you just won't say anything, and it's fine.
that's that's probably preferable, anyways. I really don't have anything important to say,
It would be
anyways.
great as if I just turned all of the sound off, and we
Yeah,
sat here and we talked the
you
entire
know,
time, and nothing came.
yeah. People would love that. Like, it would be so great.
It'd be amazing. It'd be so funny. Yeah, technical difficulties. Okay, so now that we have Article 1 done, we're working on Article 2, Executive Branch, starting brand new, fresh out the box, Section 1. We got our three constitutions here, or four, sorry, we have our four constitutions. We have our executive branch, Article 2, for our conservative, libertarian, and progressive, and we have, of course, the original. It's split into four sections. This is the executive branch, which means essentially whenever the laws are made by Article 1, you have to have somebody that is responsible for the execution of those laws to make sure that things get done, sort of an overall, like, okay, here are all of the laws, but now I need to make sure that these get enacted, get carried out, things happen, stuff like that. So, we have written the executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America. Of course, we know this. That's what the executive branch is mainly the president. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the vice president, chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. Each state shall appoint in such manners that as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors. Okay, so here we have the electoral college, right? Equal to the number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in Congress, but no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. This is huge right here, right?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Are you sure? So we have
Not
the
to me.
vesting clause, which is the original one. Executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States. So So the Articles of Confederation, which is what this replaced, created no separate executive. Duties that we associate with the executive were handled first by congressional committees, then by secretaries or boards under congressional direction. Okay, yeah. Several states have plural executive committees. The notion of plural executive had its backers at the Philadelphia Convention. So, vesting clause resolves that question in favor of the unitary executive. I don't have a
Well,
problem
and
with that.
it in my head it does beg the question of like, should that much power be vested in one person? And the idea of executive committees, I hadn't really given much thought to that in general, up until we just read that. I'm kind of wondering, but then again, like committees, that's where things get stalled out. That's where nothing ends up happening, and so it's like at some point somebody's got to be left holding the bag, and somebody has to make the decisions.
That's
So,
true. Well, I mean, you have a committee of 5 people, 7 people, well, 3, 5, 7, whatever.
well, and
whatever.
the president has his cabinet
Yeah.
and such. So there is
Well,
some
I
delegation
think,
of power.
yeah, I think the big thing is you have to have somebody that makes the decision essentially. The final call, because if I am not mistaken, I don't believe that there is current information state of the union. There isn't anything here that says that he has to have a cabinet.
No, I think that was kind of done by statute, right?
It wasn't done. I don't. I don't think by law he has to have an actual cabinet. I don't. I don't think so.
Hmm.
Better quantify this.
But
President
but I
of the U.S. No, Constitution doesn't explicitly require the president to have a cabinet, though it is legally and practically necessary to operate the government. While not mandated, it authorized the president to require opinions from principal officers of executive departments, creating a constitutional basis for the cabinet. So he doesn't have to have it. It basically says he has the ability to. I think this is where
Yeah.
it is.
So the whole idea came from principal officers. Um. But what
Um,
about what about what about the power of succession? Because doesn't that go down the cabinet after you hit the vice president and then
no,
the
no,
no, it doesn't.
mm-mm. Nope. It goes down elected officials.
Okay, so yeah, it doesn't hit any
No,
unelected officials. Huh.
nope. It goes president, vice president, president uh, of the Senate. Um,
So what was that show where I think it Kiefer Sutherland where he ended up being maybe it wasn't Kiefer Sutherland, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah,
okay,
no,
I
see there is. Yeah, there is a
there
yeah,
is.
yeah. An order of succession.
Yep.
And some
So
are
it's
that yeah,
after the pro temp of the Senate, then it goes into the secretaries that are appointed.
yeah.
That's funny. The Secretary of State, Treasury, Defense, then the Attorney General, then the Secretary of Interior, Agricultural, Commerce. Like
Yeah, but like I'm thinking of that TV show where during
24.
the State of the Union, huh?
Is it 24?
No, no, no. The the whole basis of it is like he's the secretary of somebody down low, like maybe like the
Yeah.
secretary of education or some shit.
Yeah.
And then um and then everybody else is at the State of the Union, but they keep him sequestered, and
Correct.
then the Capitol building ends up getting blown up,
Blown up. Everybody's
and
gone, and he's the president.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember. Yeah. By the way, you're now the president. What?
yeah.
That's not
He's
why
like,
I'm here.
nah, nah,
Uh,
I don't wanna.
yeah. That is interesting. Like I knew it was these, but I didn't know that it was the
Yeah,
secretary of these different.
yeah. It's the secretary of the secretaries of the cabinet.
Hmm,
Why? Oh, well, I guess Homeland Security would be last because it was the last.
the last one added.
Yeah, the last bureaucracy added.
Okay. Let's see. So Harry
Ah,
Truman signed the Presidential Succession Act. The original act in 1792 placed the Senate President pro tempore and the Speaker of the House in the line of succession. But in 86, Congress had them removed. Okay. Okay. Senate assumed it was empowered to elect the president pro tempore only during the absence of the vice president. But what should senators do at the end of session?
hmm. Enable the Senate to elect President pro tempore, fearing that the presidency might thus accidentally slip into the hands of the opposition. Vice presidents occasionally refused to perform this little courtesy when the opposing party held the Senate majority. Interesting. So, partisan politics. That's fun. All right.
So when Franklin Roosevelt died, that's when.
Uh, hmm,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very interesting. Very
isn't
interesting
it
how that
always?
works.
Isn't it always?
All right. So so the line of succession. And I mean I don't have Speaker of the House. I do find it interesting that it's the president, the vice president, Speaker of the House, and then President of the Senate.
Yeah, because technically the Senate is the higher um chamber.
Sure, yeah. Technically because you have the lower and the upper. Yes. Which I do find funny. I do that whole thing with and we're not supposed to go back to Congress. We're supposed to be talking about the president here, but the whole thing of like the people, the representation of the people is lower than the representation of the states. Sure. Anyways, so back to section one. So, I mean, I don't have any problem with having a president rather than a committee. Like you said, committee's just going to cause holdups and
Yeah,
problems and
yeah,
stuff.
you're just gonna jam shit up. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about like moving things along day to day.
I mean, we
Uh,
have a hard enough time with that already. You just add in more committees,
right.
and it's just like, what the hell?
Uh, yeah. And when you're talking about like running a government that's responsible for, you know, almost 350 million people, like that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then plus you have bureaucracy and committees like going all the way down that chain too.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Give me 1 second here. I need to do something. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Um. So so each stage. So I don't have a problem with the first two lines. We're doing term 4 years. Obviously, the 4 years needs to be moved into two or two terms. Two terms of 4 years, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
that was I forget which amendment that was.
yeah. Which I think is two terms of 4 years. I think that that's okay. And I actually I had
Well,
some.
and that there yeah, that there's a time cap on it. You can't do more than a total of 8 years because you don't want to like a king monarch type situation. But I mean, I don't know. Then again, you had FDR that he and that's why they put the rule in place in
That's
the
why they
first
put the
place.
rule in place. Yeah, because he
Yeah,
was so popular.
but if he's that popular and he's that good at the job, why not let him keep doing it?
You have the same argument for the other two houses where people get elected, and it's, well, why don't you put in terms? Well, if this person is representing the people and they're doing the will of the people in their area, in their state, in their whatever, why would they want to change it? Why would they want to? Why would they be? Why would they want to be forced to not? If this person is performing their job and excelling at what we want as a people, why would you require them to not be able to run again? Why would
And
you put
and
term limits?
yeah, and on its face, I don't see a problem with it other than like if you have like you're talking about like manipulation of elections or you're controlling the narrative in the media and stuff like that and only putting out like what you what you want people to see. I could see something like that. Hmm. Well, and so I guess now I'm thinking about like what's the argument against? What's why put in term limits? Because the people, at the end of the day, the people should get to elect who they want to elect, right?
But then you have, oh man, then you have 80, 90-year-old people that have held their seat for 50, 60 years.
So and we talked about this earlier where I'm okay with putting reasonable age limits on things where it's like, okay, you know,
I thought about that too. But
and
then you're cutting out representation of a particular age group.
yeah, well those people are going to die anyways, man. They don't need representation. Come on.
Well, no. Well, because I thought about, I was like, well, they should just limit, like, if you're putting an age limit to where they have to be of a certain age in order to join, there should be an age limit to where they can no longer be a part, right?
Yeah.
Because, quote unquote, you're not representing those younger ones, but then you have to, well, they have to be educated, they have to go through this, they have to do that, all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but at a certain point, people shouldn't be allowed to drive anymore because they can't cognitively make decisions in the fashion that you need them to. So they shouldn't be
Yeah.
allowed to drive the car anymore, right?
Agreed.
So I was thinking about it. It's like, well, it should just be tied to whenever whatever the age is that you have for retirement or to get social benefits. From that perspective, that should be the age. Like if your retirement, like right now, I think it's 67. By the time my kids get to that age, it's going to be like 80 or something. Um,
Well, I mean, the Earth is going to be on fire, like in nuclear winter, anyways. So, you know,
of course.
yeah.
Why
So
wouldn't it
there's
be?
that, or
Um,
or the zombie apocalypse. Pick one.
one or the other, yeah, something like that. But that was my theory on it. It was like, well, So what I did and my thought is, we keep talking about generations, right? About how, we have the Gen X, or you have the silent generation, the baby boomers, the Gen X, the what is it, Gen Y, Gen Z, and then now you
You
have
skipped
Gen Alpha.
millennials. You
The
skipped
what?
millennials. You skipped millennials,
Gen
which is what
Ys.
we are.
Gen Ys.
Oh, is that what they're calling them
Yeah.
now, or
No,
us
no, no,
now?
no, 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 no. That's not what they're calling them now. They changed them to millennials, but it's Gen Y because Gen X
Oh,
was
okay.
before us. Gen X
Yeah.
stopped in 1980.
Yeah.
And then from 80 to 2000 is supposed to be Gen Y, which is the millennial generation. It's just like, before Gen X was Gen W. It follows sort of the alphabet, except for you're so this is the funny part is after Gen Z, Gen Zeta, it goes into Gen A or Gen Alpha, and then it
Yeah.
does Gen Beta, which has all different kinds of connotations
Right.
to it. Yeah. Well, I mean, so does the Alpha one, but the the whole thing behind it is like they give them names and whatever, like Zoomers. I believe Zoomers is the quote unquote
That's the thing
nickname
for
for
Gen Z, right? Yeah.
Gen Z is Zoomers.
Yeah.
Um, so we all get our nicknames, but from that aspect, I kind of feel like that is almost the bar for representation. Why should you why should you continue representation longer than a generation? If you want to if you want to get elected at 40, your age of 40, that's fine. You should have about a generation's worth of time to do what it is that, to represent the people. But because the voice of the people changes over time, your generations change. I think that it should be limited to you should be able to represent the people for the time length of one generation. So, and you'll when I post our thing for the House and the Senate, I think it limits it to 24 years,
Okay.
which is a little over a generation.
A
A generation is
generation.
usually 20, right?
Yeah.
But I
Hmm.
think if you've represented your people for a whole generation, I think I think you had your go. Somebody else should do it. I think it's
Like it's time to pass the torch, maybe. But
I don't
well,
care. I
and
don't I don't care how old you are, but after 24 years, after 25 years, like
well, and to a certain extent, it's like, I mean, especially if you look at the House of Representatives, like who is supposed to be representing the people. Like, if you spent the last 24 years in Washington D.C., like, do you really have any kind of? Are you really in touch with anything that's going on with the people in your district, or
some people are,
or what their problem? Yeah, and I think some people are,
but
so,
a lot of people aren't. No, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
and hmm, yeah, there's something to be said for that. I like, and I don't have a problem putting a cap on it, or doing something like that. I'm just wondering about,
It's going to create
like,
discussion. That's why I did it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And my thought on it is like, what about those exceptional people that can stay in touch for beyond those 20 24 years, that are really that invested in the people that they're working for, that like that and that just want to further society,
Exactly. So
and
don't.
I don't know though, I feel like those are edge cases though, so maybe we don't, we kind of, push
Well, you
those
got
to
them
the
on both
side.
sides. You
Yeah.
got your people that are really good for society, and you have your people that are really bad for society. So how do you mitigate?
You shorten the Overton window. I mean, yeah, yeah, you have to, like, I agree with you. You have to make it smaller. I think that's the answer.
That's what she said.
Yeah. I, Does she? Did she?
I
I
mean, you
don't know.
kind of
I
left it
didn't.
out there. You kind of
Uh,
left it hanging out there. So,
yeah. Yeah. You ain't wrong. I'm
um,
just wondering, like,
so from a presidential perspective, and we're seeing this with what we've gone through for the past 20 years. Is 2 4-year terms enough? Should, like, you have some really great ones, and you're like, man, if this person could go for another 4 years, I'd be all right with that. And then you have other ones,
bro,
you're like, does he really get another term? Can
bro,
we stop at
in the
4?
last, I would say in the at least in the last 25 years where I've been like in and out of looking at politics and stuff like that, I'm a year in and I'm like, hey, can we get rid of this fucking guy? Like, for some reason or another. So, I don't know. Maybe it's 4 years. Maybe it's like,
4 years and you're done.
yeah, I
But then you run into the thing of, is 4 years long enough? No, instead of doing 2 4-year terms, do you do 1 6-year term?
hmm,
So
I yeah, but on the other side of it, like if going back to what is in the preamble of the Constitution that we've written so far, I'm thinking of like if there's no corporate capture, if there's no if there's or it's minimal, and you minimize media narratives and um you minimize partisanship. I would say don't put a fucking term limit on it, and just like the people elect who they want to want to lead them. Like we pick the best leaders out of all of us. That would be the ideal situation in my mind.
well, yeah,
Um,
and if you could
but
prevent
but
any
the
type
thing
of
is, we always talk
corruption.
about you have to put. It's almost like you have to put guardrails on it because someone's always going to try to game the system. Like there's always going to be corruption. Like human, like it's almost like human nature. As far as positions like this, this go, they capture the best of us and they capture the worst of us. Like, or they attract the best and worst.
You're not wrong.
And so I guess we have to guard against the worst.
So, and this comes back to many conversations that we've had. The I don't even want to say sweeping changes, but they're pretty significant changes that
Yeah.
we talk about. Even from the conservative, libertarian, progressive, they all have changes in them. Um, it's a question of how much are those changes going to require the need for other things. Like if we get rid of gerrymandering, like if you can effectively get rid of gerrymandering, are you going to need to put term limits in? Like right now, because of the gerrymandering, it's like, hey, we want term limits. Because of the corruption we have being bought up, hey, we want term limits. If it's just going to be a corporation, buying votes or buying representatives, well, yeah, I want them guys to spend I want them to spend millions of dollars every 2 years to buy a new one. Like I don't want them to be able to
Ooh,
spend.
that's a
Oh,
good
I'm
point.
gonna
I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
I want
spread the
them
wealth,
spending
man.
fucking billions of dollars.
I don't
Like,
I don't want I don't want them to spend it all on one person and have that person locked for the next 60 years.
yeah.
I
Yeah, that's a good point.
I want them to, man, spread that around. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you spend $100 million
Yeah.
every 2 years.
Yeah. It's like paying for hardware and a lifetime software license versus paying for a subscription service. Like you're gonna
Yeah,
pay a subscription service. Sorry.
and it's but if you get rid of that and we have the and you don't have that problem of uh, corporations being able to do that, and the people truly get to elect who they want. Do you need to have that? That's you know.
Yeah,
But
but I like what you're saying, where it's like, hey, we're not there yet, so we need something in the interim.
that's and that's where, if you look at the presidential, for whatever, if you look back to when this was, when the multiple term, 2 terms limit, that was for, it was FDR, wasn't it? Was it FDR or was it?
Yeah, FDR went. He was elected for the third term, and then I believe he died in the first or second year of his third term
Yeah,
from I think I want to say polio.
I don't remember what it was, but yeah, that and Truman took over, right? That
Yeah,
was the Yeah. So I mean, it was his fault that we have this. If he wouldn't be such a stupid popular president,
right.
um, but
And fighting for the will of the
people.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah, how
Well, I
dare
mean, you
he?
can you can argue. You got both sides of that story that people
Yeah,
can
I know.
argue it wasn't, but it was, but it wasn't. And I think that that's, from a presidential perspective and even from a representative perspective, the people aren't necessarily the ones giving you the money to be able to do this stuff. So you kind of, you have these people that have all this money that have the ability to run smear campaigns, run, all of this stuff to ruin your ability to get reelected. So you
Yeah,
kind of have to appease them to a certain point,
yeah,
but you also have to appease the people because they're the ones that are voting.
yeah.
So I think
And I
that
guess
he did a good job of balancing that while
yeah,
also giving to the people.
yeah, yeah. I don't disagree with that statement. Um,
So, but okay, section one, 2 4-year terms. I mean, that's probably what we're looking at, right?
I I'm mulling over in my head the idea of a one time 6 year term, but 6 years is a long time for somebody to be in power.
Well,
I
see,
like,
and well, that was, but it's 8 years. But if they get elected again, it's
but
8 years. You're giving
but
them
at
two
least
extra years,
but at least there's a barrier to entry on that other 4 years. Like if you do that shit of a job,
giving them an
that
extra 2 years. Yeah,
yeah, and
all
yeah,
right.
you're basically like versus like, oh hey, we're at four and we got two more, and it's like, and there ain't anything we can do about it. Like that's I don't know. Like I'm thinking about that now. I'm like, man, that's a hard pill to swallow. I mean, could you,
You're not
dude,
wrong.
dude, could you imagine the situation that we're in right now and think, hey man, we
We
got
got four
four
more
more
years.
years of this? Yeah,
I
four
mean,
and a
what are you
half
talking
more.
about? They're already saying it.
Like, yeah, 4 more years.
They're already
Four
saying
more
it.
years.
They
I
were they were
know.
they were saying it one
I
year, like less than a year in. 4 more years. Like what?
yeah.
What are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna go in and we're gonna cross some stuff out on the Constitution. We're gonna scribble in our own stuff, and it'll be fine.
So, it's funny that we said this, the 6-year terms, right? The conservative constitution.
Hmm.
Executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States, who shall hold office for a term of 6 years and be ineligible for re-election, and together with the Vice President chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. So the conservative constitution goes with a one single 6-year term.
Hmm.
So libertarian, the power to execute laws. Wait a second. Oh, oh.
Let's get weird.
I mean, we are. So okay. So the original wording is the executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States.
Hmm.
Conservative, the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America, who shall, it basically combines the first two sentences.
Hmm.
Libertarian, the power to execute the laws shall be vested in a President of the United States of America, who shall hold this office during the term of 4 years, and together with the Vice President chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. The progressive one, except as otherwise provided by law, the power to enforce and execute the laws shall be vested in the President of the United States of America. The President shall hold office during the term of 4 years, together with a vice president chosen for the same term, be elected by the national popular vote conducted using a ranked choice voting method.
Hmm.
I mean, there's
So,
there's a lot of difference across the
yeah.
three of them here. I mean,
I'm
and go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, when it comes to the ranked choice voting system, I from and we're talking about progressive and liberal and libertarian, and I know that means different things, but like to a certain extent, when I think progressive, like I think Democrat, and when I think conservative, I think Republican, and I don't think that's necessarily true or false at this point. I'm just kind of wondering, like, it from a ranked choice voting perspective, does that benefit one party or the other? Like, have they done like studies or polls or different things like that? Like, would more Democrats be elected or would more Republicans be elected?
I'm pretty sure you would be looking at it would be a more progressive esque
Yeah,
type. But I I think the reason being you would get more progressive elections out of it is because you would have the possibility of having more people vote. Um, and plus you wouldn't have people feeling like there were wasted votes. Like if I could rank choice, like I would love to have Green Party and then this party and that you could do. I want a Green Party and then I want the Libertarian Party and then I
yeah,
I want the yellow. I don't know whatever.
yeah.
You know
Pick
you
something.
you could pick
Like
the six underdogs.
anything except for the Republican or the Democratic Party. I like
Exactly.
I'll pick those first, and then as my
Yep.
second to last choice, I'll pick the Democratic Party.
Or whatever party,
Yeah,
whatever it is. So your vote could essentially, because if you had a lot of like-minded people that were like, oh well, my vote isn't going to be wasted by voting for the Green Party, right?
yeah,
Because if everybody else feels the same way, it could actually work because people
yeah,
would. Rather than people thinking, oh, well, I only have two choices. I either vote
yeah,
Democrat or Republican or my vote is wasted.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. If I don't vote Democrat or Republican, like my vote doesn't matter.
Correct. So that's where you get the electoral, not the electoral, the ranked choice.
Yeah,
But there's also other ones that are like that, like the star and other types of voting because I believe that there's different types of ranked choice. I think there's some runoff versions of it. There's like a couple like weird
yeah,
variations of ranked choice. But a lot of times what you have in a lot of parliamentary systems is it is ranked choice. And what you have is when the votes are counted, you get, okay, well, instead of voting for a particular person, you vote a party and then that party gets a certain percentage of seats.
yeah.
So
They do that in Israel for sure.
they do it in a lot of countries. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, so you would have a proportional representation of, and then they have to do coalitions, they have to do all this to get anything passed because if not, they're not going to blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah blah.
yeah. And
Right?
certain parties have to group together, and you
Correct.
know,
In order,
yeah,
yeah. If you get like three different conservative parties, they're like, oh, okay, let's conglomerate. It's like, oh well, we actually have the majority now, and we can do what we want over the the progressive conglomeration.
right. And then you end up with like this conservative conglomerate that is like and they're only negotiating amongst themselves instead of actually negotiating as a whole.
Yeah, yeah. They negotiate and they put something together. Well, and then you run into problems because if you have like if if one if one if one type doesn't have the majority within that conglomerate, then you could have a stalemate within that conglomerate and then they won't be able to get anything out. So, say you have, 40% of this one, 35 of this one and 35 of that one. If they can't figure out their crap,
Yeah.
they can sit there and they can essentially
And then
um,
nothing gets done.
correct. And then you have the vote of no confidence and then everybody gets ousted and then you do all that. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's fun.
Yeah,
I believe
good
that's what
good
they call it,
time.
fun.
Yeah, I was asking that question mostly to see, just curious about if there was a reason for the progressive to throw in the ranked choice voting, if progressive or Democrat voters or the Democratic Party is more leaning towards ranked choice voting just because they think that that would, from a
Well,
partisan perspective, it would benefit them.
well, I think it's one of those progressive things. Like, not only do they think it would help them, but ranked choice voting does better represent the
Yeah,
populace
yeah,
because it
and we talked
yeah
about that, and I agree with you. Like
hmm
I don't think that our current voting system actually represents the. I don't think
the
it really
voters.
represents the will of the people.
Yeah,
Um, excuse me, sorry. Oh, allergies. Um,
I hear they're terrible.
yeah, they're not fun. Um, where what was I saying?
See,
Yeah, and
so
so
this
like I
is. I'm sorry. I want to
no, you're fine.
by the progressive saying that it's conducted using ranked choice voting method, it gets rid of electors. Like the whole section of
Yeah,
electors are gone.
but doesn't either, was it the conservative or the libertarian that says popular vote? Didn't one of them say popular versus
Um,
electoral college?
no, okay, libertarian is electors. Um, no, be elected as followed. I don't want to get into this. We'll get into that in a second. No, it's just it's yeah, be elected by national popular vote conducted using a ranked choice voting method. That's the progressive. So
Okay.
so the progressive gets rid of the electoral college.
Yeah.
Gone. Out the window. Done.
Yeah. And m- my understanding, and I could be off about this, and this is just what I've learned in school as far as the electoral college goes. I was always taught, or I was always told, that the reason we had the electoral college is because that we are not um, a nation of people, we are a nation of states,
Correct.
and that the states, each electoral college is that of the states.
Okay.
um,
No, no,
and
you're right. There was other things behind it, but yes, that was the main thing, was representation of the states and election because of the states.
and I know to a certain extent that has kind of gone away, especially when you look at federalism and how it's changed over the last 250 years. We have a completely different type of federalism than we did in 1789 or 1791. Um, of how the federal government imposes itself on the states, and vice versa, and how they push back on each other. Um, and, and so I don't know, maybe that needs to look like mirror that. Oh yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, sorry, technical difficulties, everybody.
No, we're good.
Um,
No, I
and, and to where the because if I'm remembering this from my political science class, which it's been a year, so I apologize in advance. I believe the first type of federalism that they qualify and they quantify for the first, I believe, up until the New Deal, which is FDR. They called it dual federalism. Is that you had federal rights and you had states' rights, and they didn't interact. They didn't, like, you had one or the other, and then after the New Deal, like, they
47.
sort of started to layer on top of each other, and
Nope, nope,
where.
wrong. You did the wrong,
Oh,
almost
did
kind of
I?
sort of. You did the wrong cakes. You were just making the wrong type of
Okay.
cakes. That's all. The dual
Oh, fair enough.
federalism is the layer cake. That's where the layers
Okay.
come in. Yeah, the cooperative
Okay.
federalism is the marble cake. At least that's what
Yeah.
that's what
Yes.
Google's AI is telling me.
And then what was the first one before the New Deal? That
That was dual federalism. You had that right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the dual federalism was a layer cake, right? Where you had okay, you've got the federal government and then you got the state government and they don't mix at
Correct.
all. Yeah. And now we have the marble cake where it all mixes together and it's all for
No,
lack
that's
of
not what
some
we
better
have now, but yes,
um what are they calling it now? I can't
new
remember. Like
federalism,
yeah,
devolution,
that's
devolution, or
since
whatever.
like Reagan Clinton, I believe.
Yeah,
Is
philosophy focused. It was 1970s. Philosophy focused on returning power and autonomy to the state governments, often through block grants that grant greater
Yeah.
flexibility in spending.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the the idea that the states are completely separate from the federal government and that they should have their own electoral colleges, I don't know if that's a I I'm wondering if that's a bit outdated. You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, maybe we should just represent the will of the people in this particular instance, and we bypass the states because there's so much interweaving between the two agencies, between the federal and the state, that where it's like, hey, like we're picking one person to lead all 350 million of us. Like, do should we just take everyone at their vote and and just say, hey, like as far as the executive branch, it just comes down to
popular vote.
what we all vote for versus like what the states vote for. Because I I mean to a certain extent our
Well, no,
yeah
they did this with state senators
yeah
because
yeah
the
same idea.
senators
But
used to be elected by the legislature of the state.
yeah, and because when you think about it from a layer cake perspective, it's like, and let's even add in a layer. It's like you got the people, you got the states, and then you got the federal government, right?
Correct.
And they don't touch. They don't, like,
Are you sure?
states take care. Well,
Not what Neil Diamond said.
you're throwing off my groove here, man.
I'm
Like
sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go
I
ahead.
was going somewhere. Like
Okay, we got the cakes. We got the
yeah,
people with the states on top of them and the federal government on top of them.
right,
Got it.
right.
One
So
happy state sandwich.
this is from 1780 to 1934, and they don't
37, but
touch.
yes,
They like the states take care of themselves for the most part.
correct.
And then the federal government has very little interaction with the state on a day-to-day basis.
Correct.
That is not how we exist today. And so the idea that you that the states get to decide who gets to be elected president, it doesn't make sense anymore because there's parts of the federal government that bleed down into the people because on a maybe not on a day to day, but like a week to week or a month to month basis, to where they the people should be deciding who ultimately leads the federal government because they have the federal government affects them more than it did 200 years ago.
So, so you're saying the people, the bottom layer, should be the
Yeah.
ones that choose the top layer, not the middle layer.
Well, because it's like I said, it's not a layer cake anymore. It's the marble cake. It's
Well, yeah,
where
it's all mixed in.
because yeah, it's all mixed in. So if it's all like whereas like back when the Constitution was originally written, like I said, it was dual federalism. Like you had the federal government, you had the states. They didn't mess with each other. Like the states were responsible for their stuff. The federal government was responsible for its stuff, and then the states took care of the people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh well, sometimes the federal government takes care of the people. Sometimes the state does it. I'll give you this block grant for this or whatever. The money comes from the federal government. Like there's all this intermixing, and so it's
yeah.
like, why then why are we letting a state electoral college decide who gets to dole out money or decide what services I get or I don't get, um, based on that, when they can affect me more, like on a greater level than they could, when it was dual federalism. Is that am I just rambling, or am I actually making sense?
No, I get what you're saying. I don't know. So so essentially, with the New Deal, from my understanding, is essentially what happened was when you had the separation, the states did whatever they did, and the dual federalism. You had you had the two layers. The federal stayed at the federal, the state stayed at the several or the state, and there wasn't much interaction from the federal government as far as giving or mandating things to the states.
To
It
the
was sort of
people.
like the federal government
No.
kind of did their own thing, and the state government did their own thing.
Yeah, and there wasn't any mandating of the federal government down to the people.
Correct.
There was
Well,
no mix there.
down to the people, I don't know. I don't know if there was down to the people. I can't.
Well,
But
I mean
then
that was the whole point, is that it was separated. Each layer was completely separate from the other. Now, the federal government touched the state layer, and the state layer touched the county layer, or the parish layer, or whatever, and then on down the line. But there wasn't intermixing, where it was like the federal government gets to decide, like the Department of Education gets to decide what county gets what money when. And I like that's a poor example, because I don't think that they do that. But
so are you arguing that dual federalism would be better?
no, I'm not arguing that one
One,
would be better than the other. All I'm saying is that because the federal government is involved on a regular basis of what happens at other layers, I'm saying it because of that, the electoral college doesn't make sense,
yeah,
because the states it shouldn't be the states that are deciding who gets to run the federal government on a day-to-day basis. It should be the people.
yeah, and I think that that's gotten more and more evident as time has gone on. That
Yeah.
the powers that be shouldn't be the ones, and just like they made the state senators popular electives versus the state legislature. So now it's the people choose who the state senators are for each state. And it feels like eventually we're going to get to the point to where the president is by popular vote. Considering that there's been over the past 20 years a few questionable, from a popular vote perspective, who won the presidency.
Yeah.
So where you win the presidency, you win the electoral, but you don't win the popular.
I remember watching this movie I think it was an HBO original. It was on the 2000 election, and it was Kevin Spacey. And at the end of the movie, like I think he was on Gore's campaign, and he was talking about it. And they went through all this different stuff that happened, like down in Florida, and with Jeb Bush, and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Eh, and then like at one point, Kevin Spacey's character, like I think he was the campaign manager or something like that, and he's like, you know what, I don't care who I don't care who gets to be president at this point. He's like, I just want to know who won this fucking election. Like, who won? like
yep.
like like that's how diluted the whole thing got.
Oh yeah. No, it was, yeah, yeah. It was bad. There was a lot of, and I think that started the whole thing that we've gone through in the past couple
Well, not
elections. with
Yeah, well, now every 2 years, everybody's screaming election fraud. And not
which
because they have any evidence, just because they can.
well, not only that, but the people screaming of election fraud are usually the ones that end up being the ones that are committing it.
Yeah. And it's like,
So
oh, my backdoor plan didn't work. Now I'm gonna scream election fraud.
exactly. So this is interesting. The conservative constitution gets rid of electors as well.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I knew it was
Yeah,
one, either one or the other.
but you're gonna like what they put in here. So the libertarian is the only one that keeps the electors.
Hmm, interesting.
Um,
I don't think I would have guessed that in a million years that the libertarians would be the one to keep the electoral college.
I think that there's a reason for that, but we'll get to that in a moment. I want to. This is the libertarian one. So it's really interesting. So the conservative one. So let's
Hmm.
let's do this. You know how we've been fighting over the whole thing about how deliberate we should be in what is said in the Constitution. Like how ambiguous should we keep it? Because the original Constitution is very ambiguous.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of things that are just
Yeah,
left open.
and
So the
purposefully
conservative
so.
one is really interesting in how they're trying to put more guardrails around it while also not putting guardrails. So the conservative one says on the second Tuesday of September of the sixth year of a president's term, each
Okay.
member of the respective state legislatures may cast one vote for a person eligible to be elected president, and two persons receiving the most votes from each branch of the legislature, or four persons receiving the most votes in the case of a unicameral legislature, shall receive that state's nominations. No state shall restrict the legislature's choice by law or otherwise. The two nominees receiving the most nominations by state legislatures shall be candidates for president. In addition, okay, so let's just look at this. The states, the state legislatures, each member of the respective state legislatures may cast one vote for a person eligible to be elected president. So this gets essentially gets rid of caucuses, right?
Well, they're talking about state legislatures.
The
Cast
state
one
legislature nominates people to be president.
each member of the respective state legislatures
Yeah. And the two
may
persons
cast one.
receiving the most votes from each branch of the legislature, or four persons receiving the most votes in the case of unicameral, shall receive the state's nominations
Okay, so what does that mean? Like, so each state makes between 2 and 4 nominations.
for president. Correct. No state shall restrict the legislature's choice. Okay. The two nominees receiving the most nominations by the state legislature shall be candidates for president.
So at the end of the day, you could have 100 candidates for president,
You could.
or 200, because they're saying four
Up to
four
four
person.
for unicam. Yeah.
Yeah.
In addition, any eligible person may become a candidate on petitions signed by 1% of the number of votes cast in the preceding presidential election in at least a majority of the states by October 10th of that year. On the first Tuesday of November of that year, the states shall conduct a national popular vote among the candidates so qualifying. The candidate who obtains the majority of popular votes by method of ranked choice voting shall be elected president. Congress shall,
Hmm.
by 3/5 vote, set the rules and procedures for the ranked choice voting. So you're doing so the state legislatures put up nominees, and then
And then the people vote.
the people vote on those nominees based on popular vote of ranked choice voting. Man, I gotta get some more context around this. I gotta
But
like.
like on its face, I don't hate that idea. Dude, you would have 100 people
Well, I
up
mean, you
to a
wouldn't necessarily have 100 people because more than likely you're still going to have parties that are going to put their candidate forth and the states are then going to choose based on the party's candidates that they're, it's still going to be party lines because you
yeah.
still have party lines within the state legislature. So, your Democrats in the state legislature are going to, put forth the Democratic nominee and the so
Yeah, and then most of those people, like if you're talking partisanship, most of those people are just going to bow out and just be like, "Hey, I don't want
exactly.
to be president." Like, oh, and then I put my support behind this person,
Yeah.
or I put my support behind this person.
So this one, another important. This is what the conservative constitution says about the presidential selection. Another important structural change that recognizes these tensions is to the presidential selection process. The committee believes that the current system for selecting candidates for the chief magistrate, which is not in the Constitution, is insufficiently attentive to experience and character, while the electoral college system for choosing among the candidates is insufficiently democratic. The committee arrived at a system whereby the candidates are selected by elected representatives at the state level, thus avoiding a concentration of power in Washington, with the possibility of petition candidates and the ultimate choice being made by popular vote by means of ranked choice voting. It is in our view that the current primary system is not good at identifying candidates who would be good presidents. Nonetheless, the people should have the final choice between two or more strong, highly qualified candidates without distortion by an intermediary body of electors. Our proposal achieves this while retaining the Electoral College's wise provision for a broadly distributed national electorate, at least at the candidate selection stage. Returning to a proposal that was almost adopted by the original Constitutional Convention, we limit the president to a single 6-year term. This will make it less likely the president will make important decisions with a view of reelection rather than the common good, and will prevent presidents from improperly using prerequisites of incumbency to gain electoral
That,
advantage.
that's another good point that I hadn't
Yep.
thought about.
It may be too much to hope, but maybe presidents will focus on their presidential role rather than the position as leaders of political parties. And this is one of the problems with political parties, and I understand what they're trying to do here with the states selecting, but you're still going to have like the Republican Party is still going to put one person or two people up, just like they always do. They're going to have the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party. They're going to have their candidate that is going to be their face of their party, and that is what they're going to tell the states to
Vote
to
for.
to put up. Like they're, hey, Democrats in state legislature, if you need
Yeah.
to vote party lines because that's what you need to do. So I don't think that it necessarily gets rid of it from a perspective, but you do have a thing to where you don't have the normal people voting in, caucuses for primaries, and then that person, and then watching that happen real time. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do now for who's going to represent the party. Instead, you have the legislatures from the states decide who's going to run for the party.
Well,
I
I
got
think sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the I think we need to boil this down to a base case. Why is it that even when a third party ends up like Ross Perot back in what was it 1996 I think, took like 10% of the popular vote or something like that, and I don't think there's been a use case since then where there's been a third party candidate that's garnered that much of the vote. Why does it always boil down to two candidates? Like why? Like and
Choice is bad in some people's eyes. And the reason it's too can't because if you had because they're trying to get one, they've worked on polarizing the country.
yeah,
People, well, which one is the one that does, and they've worked to divide.
which is the
country.
least bad. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's the
they'd work
South
to
Park
divide on
thing.
social issues versus
Yeah,
policy because, to be
yeah,
honest with you, people are dumb on policy.
yeah.
People
Well,
don't understand it.
to me, the last 4, 8, yeah, I don't know. Well, at least the last 4 to 6 elections, as far as from a presidential perspective, have been like, do I want? It goes back to the South Park analogy of do I want to eat vomit or do I want to eat poop? Like, and I got to decide between which one I want to eat. And those are my only options. Like how has it? How have we
No,
gotten to this place? I don't think that it's because of the uh, I don't think it's because the people are deciding this. I think that is the choice that we are being given. And so the question becomes is how do we
I mean, come on.
how
You got to look at just a couple elections ago when the Democratic Party essentially forced out Sanders.
right.
I mean, he
Oh
would
yeah.
have been he should have been the candidate,
Yeah.
but they essentially forced him out.
I I mean, honestly, like I would have voted for him in 2024 rather than vote for the other two candidates. Like, but I think at that point, like what I'm guessing, uh, after his experience in 2016, he was just like, well, I'm never going to run again because like I'm never going to be allowed to
Correct.
uh,
I'm never going to get
the
the support.
opportunity.
I'm never going to get the support that is needed for me to be able to run
Yeah,
from the political party. because
yeah,
this is what would have happened, and this is where they run into having more than two candidates that are up, just like Ross Perot did, and when he split the vote. If you take a more progressive person than the Democrats put up, you're going to split the progressive vote and give the vote to the conservatives. Same way if the libertarians put up a candidate that pulls conservatives off of the Republican vote, then you're going to give it to the progressive side. So that's what people have formulated in their head, and that's why you use ranked choice voting instead of the way that we're doing it now, is because you don't have the problem of taking votes away from someone. So people have essentially come to, well, it's either a Democrat or a Republican. Those are the only two parties that we're ever going to get to vote for. Like there's no other choice, because if the Republicans put up a candidate and the Democrats split with another progressive, quote unquote, I don't know that Democrats are that progressive, but if they put up somebody to go that is going to take votes away from a Democrat, you're essentially ruining the progressives' chance, and you're handing it to the
yeah.
conservatives.
You're handing it to the other party.
Correct. Well, not even the other party, but the other end of the spectrum, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. So, and Perot, when he
your
and
your supposed enemy,
correct,
if you will.
yeah. So that's how we've ended up in a two-party system, is because those are the two largest parties, and they've become sort of the antithesis of each other. When you had one party that has essentially made their stance on moral subjects rather than policy subjects, it's you have the party that is anti-abortion, pro-marriage, anti-gay, all of
Yeah,
that, and pro whatever you call conservative Christian values, which I don't even know what that means, versus the other party that is the opposite of that.
yeah,
It doesn't matter what their views are. It's they don't have the same views as this, because if they had the same views as us, they would be in our party. So we
yeah,
have to vote our party because there's no other option, and that
yeah.
is 50% of your constituency that votes.
And it's interesting as you were saying that I was thinking about this where you going from left to right it is a straight line, right? Like that's how people view it. You're like you're either here on this line or you're here on this line and you're here on this line. Dude, what if we took that idea and we made it a Cartesian chart and
You
uh
really
and
want to disenfranchise voters, don't you? Because a lot of them have a hard time understanding a line, let alone whatever the hell it is you just said. They're not even gonna know what that word means, let alone how to say it. They're gonna look at the word and they're gonna be like, I don't know
we
what that
don't
is.
like
A
okay, we don't
cartesian?
have to say, I'm sorry, we don't have to say Cartesian. Like we can just say, hey, you have a graph and you have this variable that goes
Oh
this
no,
way
no, see,
and you have this variable
I
that
didn't
goes this way.
I didn't do math was not good. What do you mean variable? What that's we getting into x plus y equals z or something here? Like what?
Yeah, but seriously, like I was just thinking about that. It's like even if you just brought in one more variable, like, and let's just say you made it okay. We have social issues and we have policy issues, or we have economic issues and we have social issues, and we made one of them X and we made one of them Y, and we went like this, and it's like, okay, where do you stand on this? And then one person ends up here, person ends up there, one person ends up there, and one person ends up there, like how much more choice would that give people? But then at the end of the day, what you just said is I think there's some truth in that where people do not actually want choice. Like and they want their line, they
They
want
want
their
they
they
want to
want
be
the,
told who to vote for.
yeah, they want the simplicity rather than be like, "Oh, hey, why is this person on this part of the graph and why is this person on this part of the graph?" Like cuz
I
then
mean,
you
you
actually
you
have to
have
go and do and find out information for yourself.
you have that. You have the right now. I'm sure you've seen the meme with the four squares with the author. I can't even say the
Yeah,
word. Um,
authoritarianism.
authoritarian with I'm man. Where's the what is it? Is it political compass? That's what it is. It's called the political compass. It's this right here. So you have your economic left, your economic right, and then you have your what is the authoritarian versus the libertarian. There's your there's your graph. There's your x and y.
Fair enough.
Economic right, your quote unquote progressives. Economic left, your conservatives, and then your authoritarian, which is your fascism, and then your libertarian, which is libertarian. I don't know that there's another word for that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so you have individual liberty with progressive stance, and then you have your authoritarian and conservative. This is like somewhere up in here is where most MAGA is up in
Uh,
this corner.
it, is MAGA? Do they want well, economic left? Is that no? I think
Conservative.
I think you're thinking
They don't want to spend
economic
money.
right. Oh, okay. But why would they be saying it's right? It's ripe for a well, okay. No, never mind. Like I'm like it's the pieces are falling into place in my head. Like as I'm thinking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then and then you got the I like the one in the top right, by the way.
Oh yeah. So what you have for the most part is that you have your MAGA people up here. We want to be told what to do. We want to tell everybody else what to do, and all that stuff is up in this square, is in the top left square. In the
Yeah.
bottom right square are your actual libertarians. Like they're down in here.
Yeah.
Sorry, the
Where they
economic
want to
left
spend
is spending money. Sorry.
they don't well but even that, dude, you could break out into a completely different into a different graph, or you could create another variable, because when it comes to defense spending, they'd be like, oh yeah, spend billions of dollars, let's go to war, let's fucking kill people so we can get more resources, like
Oh yeah.
um It,
Yeah, there's
that is a lot of memes.
like there are all kinds of memes.
And
Yeah, it's
to me, this is like, I don't know, like, well, and memes just oversimplify. They simplify things for people enough so that they can, like,
yeah, and
create a construct in their brain that makes sense to them.
yeah, yeah. It's there are a lot of these like you you have to be careful with a lot of these because they look, this is not everybody. Like
Yeah,
this graph does not
like,
count for everybody. This graph is like what it needs to be is like a 4D graph. Like this is a 2D graph. And even if you make
yeah,
3D to where there's depth to this, you're still not capturing
yeah,
everybody's view. So, yeah. I don't know.
yeah.
I guess
It's a
MAGA
lot
would be
more
up here.
complex than
Sorry,
that.
I had it reversed. MAGA would be up in this corner, the
Yeah,
right. I'm sorry.
yeah.
That was my
See,
fault.
yeah, that's what yeah, that's what was throwing me off.
Yeah, no. That's my fault. I was my right and left was
Yeah,
mixed
because
up.
the economic left, like, and where,
That's
and
spending
I get
money.
what that first one was saying is like, hey, this is ripe for a revolution. Like, not only are you, not only are you imposing all of your views on me, you're not like helping me in any way whatsoever, and you're taking my money. Like,
Yep.
yeah, like so yeah, we're getting rid of you.
Yeah.
But then I look at this one, and that one looks, yeah. Like I said, it's
It's scary that it's scary that this is how they simplify things.
yes,
Like
and this is what they boil it down to. I
correct.
agree,
That this is what they're, you know.
and that this is what people are feeding on.
Oh yeah. No. This is yeah.
Yikes!
I'm sure you heard about Afro Man, right?
No, what's Afro Man?
You didn't? You didn't hear? Oh, come on, that was a big thing. So Afro Man,
Sorry,
you know, have you heard? You know his music, right?
I don't even know who Afro Man is. Well, now
He's
that
a
you say it
singer.
like that, okay. Now that you say it like that, yeah, that it is kind of ringing a bell.
So he made a song because I got high.
Oh yeah, I like that song.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's a
Afro
great
Man, right?
song.
Okay. So when he wasn't at home and his family wasn't at home, the police raided his house because I think somebody said something. Anyways, they raided his house. He had cameras all over the place. They 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 bust down his door. They went in. They like went around his house. Like there's anyways, he has a video of a lot of it. Then they eventually they cut his security system. They cut off his cameras. So it turns out that they took a bunch of money. They didn't find any guns. They didn't find any drugs. They didn't find anything. There was nothing there. Well, they broke his gate when they came in, like his gate that to his driveway. They busted his
Yeah,
gate down, and then they busted his door down. So they both had to be replaced. And he's like, y'all didn't find anything. You know, when he came home, he's like, what the hell's going on? They didn't find anything. He went and he sued because he's like, hey, just replace my door, pay for my stuff that you broke
yeah.
on this seizure where you didn't find anything. They essentially tossed it out because hey, they had a they had credible whatever to go in
They
and
had a
do this
valid
stuff.
search warrant.
So it's part of it's it's protected.
Yeah,
They don't have to pay for it. So this is what he did. He made a bunch of songs and made fun of the police that came in and he had video of. He was using video from the search. Like there was one guy that was in the kitchen. There was a pie sitting on his table,
oh, he
and the
like
guy he stood there and was like looking at the pie, and like was
like
like you could see him contemplating, right?
Yeah, it's
So
like,
that was
yeah, that
part of
looks
one of
pretty
the
fucking
things he
good.
said, talking about how the guy stopped to look at his pie. Like that was one thing. And there was a bunch of others, and he went on to make comments about how, he slept with the dude's wife and all like all kinds of stuff in in his music videos and his songs. And it's hilarious. They sued him for defamation.
Bro,
The police officers sued him and he won.
good for him.
Well,
Thank
but that's
God.
where this comes in. It's like everybody, because freedom's good, and then you have the authoritarian thin blue line. You can't make fun of us. We're upset. Where everybody,
Yeah.
actual
Yeah,
patriots and
you
stuff are.
you you will respect us,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just funny. It's really funny that. But yeah, no, I recommend 100% that you go look at what watch some of the videos. Like they have good clips of. Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if the cop's defense in court, like as far as when he sued them to pay for his gate and his door, was like, well, we got high,
Well,
so
no,
like, and
no, they didn't have to say anything because it's as long as they can prove that they had a search warrant or whatever, it's part of
yeah,
the search and seizure that they don't have to pay back. That's
yeah,
part of the
yeah,
law. But
yeah, which is
and this is the funny part is he said he's like, well, I had to pay for this stuff, so I had to recoup the cost of them doing this. So I used what I had to try to recoup the cost of you busting down my door and breaking my gate. Since you wouldn't pay for it, I had to use this to yeah.
yeah. And I mean, like you barging into somebody else's house, like it kind of like as far as the violation of privacy, you violated their privacy. So do you really have a right to privacy at that point? And in my mind, the answer is no, you do not.
Well, and that's something that he said when he got dude Afro Man was in a full decked out American flag suit when he was on stand. No, so you gotta go watch it. It's absolutely hilarious. And like you have police officers that getting on the stand crying, saying that their life has been affected by.
Serious?
I'm dead serious. Yeah,
Oh my
no, dude,
god!
you gotta go. There's got
How
to be a
old?
compilation
Just
somewhere
out of
of it.
curiosity, how old are these police officers? Like in these videos, they're up there
40s,
crying.
40s,
Get the
like
fuck
30,
out of here!
like 30s, 40s. Yeah,
Oh my god!
dude, you you gotta
No,
watch the
no,
commentary. I'm
bro, come on, man! Like,
when the dude was
no.
talking about how the guy talking about how Afro Man said that he slept with his wife, and the lawyer asked him, "Do you have proof that he didn't?" And he's like, "No." Do not. The lawyer asked him, "Do you have proof that he didn't?" He's like, uh, uh, "No."
Afro Man should have stood up right then and been like, "Do something!" Like, gotcha, bitch.
Dude, it was amazing. Like you seriously like talking about free speech, and he said that at one point. He's like, if you have the right to come into my house to search and whatever my house, hell yeah, I'm going to stand up and use my freedom of speech and make songs about. Like that's what I do for a living. Like you're not going to take away what I do for a living because you decided to come in and so yeah, no. Hunter, you need to go watch it. It's and everybody out there, you need to watch it. It's
We'll put it on the
amazing.
list,
It is amazing. Anyways, back to what we were talking about.
right? After that little aside,
Oh man, it's
yeah.
so good.
So,
All right, where
dude,
were we?
in my head, I'm still going back to the same thing where it's like, okay, does the electoral college serve the process itself? Like, what is the base case? Should the people decide who is being elected to run the federal government, or should it be the states? I mean, in my head, that's what it comes down to, and I think in my head, I think there's enough of an argument to where the federal government has a say in the people of any given state, enough of a say in their life to where the people should be deciding that. But that's just my own personal thought. Like, and like, I would love to have an argument with somebody about it. Like, not an argument, but a discussion about whether or not like that holds true.
I do. This is the original. I don't know if you can
And
see it.
and
What I,
the thing in the progressive one, I kind of like that too, just because I like the out of the box thinking. I like the idea that there could be anywhere between two and 100 candidates.
oh, that's conservative.
Thought that was progressive.
No, progressive just says that the president and the vice president shall be elected by a national popular vote conducted using
Oh,
ranked
okay.
choice voting method. That's it. That's they just took that whole section out, and that's it. The only thing that they put in there is that it's national popular vote conducted by ranked choice.
I mean, at the very least, it would get more people talking, and then I mean, even depending upon who they decide to elect for president 8 months before they're going up for election, they I mean, that could at least have a bearing on like, oh, hey, you voted to have this person be a candidate for president. Like
Yeah.
it's a data point at the very least. Because what can people do now? I mean, like you look at the way it's done now. They go to the Democratic National Convention or the Republican National Convention, and shit. Like in 2024, you didn't even do that. Like the you had the Democratic National Convention. They're like, oh no, like we changed our mind. I know you guys voted for this person, but you're gonna you're
This is
this
this
is
is
your
the person
person
we're
now.
putting up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm it's just funny to me that the Democrats have now put up two women, and of course they didn't get elected.
Yeah.
I,
Well, I
I'm
mean, and I mean that makes sense because no woman should.
oh jeez. Letters of complaint may be
I'm being
sent to
facetious, everyone. Like I am
no, I know.
so kidding.
I know. No, but it's funny that they're forcing it rather than getting someone that is
Getting the right
popular.
person. Yeah, right person. Not the right, the popular person for the job.
A
That's
person
gonna.
that has actual popularity with the people,
Yeah,
which Clinton did not. Hillary,
he did.
she was too involved
Oh,
in all kinds of stuff for her. It didn't make sense. She was not popular enough with the people in order to like, and that's why she lost.
well,
And then
dude.
you
I mean,
with
just on its fate, like her looking at her, she is not a likable person. Like in general, like I like just as a person, like you listen to her talk, you listen to the way she talks,
and that'll be
and the
it
way,
for us today, folks. We will no,
bro, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not saying
Like
anything. I'm just gonna end now. We'll end on that now. No, I mean, you're. I'm not
I
going to argue with you on that point, but but
like
I'm
from
saying
all her inner like, and I don't know her as a person. I'm not trying to judge her as a
a lot
person.
of
I'm just
okay.
saying from
Not
the
many
data
people do
from the
know political candidates
right
as a person.
right, but from the data that we were given,
Oh yeah,
and they like looking at it, I'm just like, I don't like this person. Like I'm not.
definitely doesn't
I'm
have the. I would like to get a beer with this person at a bar,
right.
like
Yeah.
the second Bush. Exactly.
Yeah. Or
You know,
or her husband. Dude, I would go out and party with that dude all night long. Like
I'm gonna not say. I'm gonna keep my comments to myself
I mean,
about
unless he said, "Hey,
partying with
we're
certain
gonna go get
people.
on this dude's plane," and then I'm like, "Hey, what's his name?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Jeffrey Epstein." Then no, I'm
Oh,
out.
it's Jeff's plane. You get on Jeff's plane.
Then I'm like, probably not.
No. Honestly, back then you'd be like, Jeff. I don't know, Jeff. Cool. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
nobody knew. And then you'd
right.
get there, you'd be like,
I can I is there a plane ride back like sooner than what we talked about? Like, can I just go? Wait, you know what? I'm gonna swim home.
there's.
Like,
I was going to say there's this hole over here if you would like to go somewhere that you could partake in jumping in said hole, and we will make a pool for you to swim in out of this liquid that we have here. It'll be fine. Just swim
yeah,
away.
yeah, you're gonna be fine. Just
Yeah.
just go for a little swim.
Oh man. No, but again, it's one of those things, and I think Kamala, if it wasn't done the way it was, maybe she could have had a chance. I think that there was enough. There was enough. The
Dude,
people
I could
don't
think
like having a candidate shoved down their throat, and it
well,
happened twice, and it was a woman each time.
yeah. Well, and here's my thing with Kamala is that I could run down the Democratic Party of people that are in the public eye and probably find within like 15 minutes that at least 5 other people that I would rather have seen be president than Kamala Harris.
Again, people don't like it when a candidate is shoved down their throat. It's like, oh, hey, you got to vote for this one. What? And I think that's where a lot of people were like, there was no one else. Well, she was the vice president. There was no one else, but she was there's no
There
one
was
else.
no one else, right?
Yeah, and the whole thing, and you look at it, what's going on now, and I'm not going to say it would have been better, would have been worse, would have been it would have been different, but that's not what happened. So I'm not going to sit here and speculate. It's like, oh, well, if this person, because that's what we tend to do is, oh, well, look at what this person did. Look at what that person did. It's like, man, we just want it to be better, not worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And most people don't want to pay $4 a gallon for gas. Most people don't want to pay
It's like
$10.
$6 a gallon, right here. Just saying.
It's $4 here. Okay, California is
Yeah,
always
well,
more expensive. So you
yeah.
just enjoy your Golden State
Yeah.
way out there and enjoy.
I mean, the weather's beautiful, but it's just expensive as fuck.
Yeah, but you don't want to pay $10 for a dozen of eggs. Like there's certain things that people don't want, and I'm not saying it would have been different with someone else, but
There's no way to know.
that's the thing. So you can't. I'm not going to sit here and try to speculate who would have done
Yeah.
a better job. It's just like trying to speculate. It's like, man, I wonder how my life would have been different if I wouldn't have made the left when I did, and that car wouldn't have run into me. Let me sit here and ponder what would have happened if I would have made it to work on time. If I would have done,
Sure.
It's not. If
It's not
I wouldn't have
productive.
if I would have been able to make that right turn at that last exit instead of going to the next one and have to come back around, how would my life have been different?
Well, it's not productive it's not productive for any kind of conversation where you actually are trying to affect change.
Exactly. So, and that's why I don't like, comparing. Well, what about what this person did? Like, I don't give a shit what that person did. I don't give a shit what the current person's doing. All I want to know is that when we get to the next person,
Yeah.
I don't
When
want them to do the stuff that this person is doing.
Yeah, when 2028 rolls around, like
I want it to be different.
I want something better. I want something different.
Exactly. So, anyways, so we have a 6-year term limit. We have 4 years. I don't know that.
For me, this comes down to like, okay, how do you want to set up the guardrails? Like, I would like the idea that if someone is doing a great job, that that they could be elected for another 4-year term. But then you go back to the use case of, well, what if that person just did their first 4 years so that they could do their and played the game, so in their last 4 years they could do something incredibly malicious, or that they're only acting that way and behaving that way and running the government that way for their own purposes in the next 4 years. Uh,
Well, yeah, and you have that. You can sit there and speculate on that for all term limits. Hey,
yeah,
I only have this many years to get this done. Well, then you say, oh, well, you have reelection every 2 years for for representatives, so they have to constantly be thinking about reelections. Like, oh, well, I have to do. Well, you kind of want the people that are representing the people to be worried about whether or not the people like what they're doing.
yeah.
But when you're talking about someone being able to affect change from that type of position, do you want to have a reelect? Like, hey, you got to do stuff, so we'll reelect you for the second term so that you can get your full 8 years.
Right.
So
Well,
we're going to
and
waste 4 years.
yeah, and then especially in the perspective of when you talk about corporate capture and you talk about the money that's involved, like, you know, you can throw money at almost any political problem, and make, and if you throw enough of it at it, it'll go away. Like, or that it will go your way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it's like, okay, you got elected now. Now, if you don't do exactly what I say from this moment forward, you're not going to get elected for the next 4 years. I mean, yeah, it could go the other way too. I don't disagree with you. So maybe then it is 1 6 year or 1 4 year. I just, somebody being in power for 6 years, especially with what
Well,
we've seen over the last,
well, I think that there was some pressure testing during the first term,
yeah, agreed.
to
And
see what
and
could be gotten away with, what could be done, and then I think that the second one, they had there was 4 years for people to plan
yeah,
to figure out how things needed to go and what they wanted to do and to enact all of those things. And it also gave them the extra time to get extra people in place. It gave them two more elections to
well,
get people in
yeah.
place
Well, and they also had 4 years of being in office to learn from the
to
mistakes that they
understand
made in the, yeah, and
exactly.
learn from the mistakes that they made in the first 4 years as well.
Yeah,
But
they put people in place that were politicians or were career politicians and had a little bit of dignity versus now they got rid of all that shit. They're like, we're not,
yeah,
nobody's going to hold us back. Nobody's going to tell us whether we should or shouldn't do something. It doesn't matter. We're going to do what we want.
yeah, yeah, you pick a newscaster that that was in the military for what was it, like 8 years or something like that. I don't know. And now he's the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of War. You know, whatever you want
Defense.
to call it now.
It's still defense.
Oh,
It
okay.
hasn't officially been changed. It's just a moniker that they've decided to use.
Yeah, fair enough.
It takes an act
Um,
of Congress to change the name of the.
cabinet,
Yep.
the cabinet position. Yeah. Well, and yeah, but my thought in that is this an edge case, or is this something that we're like on a down, like, are we on a downward slope, or are we just in a dip, and then we're gonna come back up at some point, and like, and somebody, something, all of us are, gonna pull our head out of our ass at some point, to where it's like, we got to stop doing this.
I
Like,
mean, good luck with that. I don't know. I mean
the last 26 years feel like it's just one big downward slope. Like,
there were some ups.
sure, I
I
mean,
mean,
there were,
we had some we came into this century on an upswing. Like
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
there was the .com bust that that happened in the 2000s, and all that stuff. But we were in a place to where the deficit, not the deficit, sorry, we were operating on a, like,
A balanced
we had
budget.
a balanced budget. Like we weren't spending more money than we were making. Um, and I mean that just went out the window. We had the housing bust, we had the .com bust, we had COVID. We had a lot of things that have happened in the past 26 years. So I don't want to discount any of that. But it has been, with 9/11, Iraq, Afghanistan, or Iraq, Afghanistan, and now
Well,
Iran,
Afghanistan, then Iraq, technically.
whichever. We had
Yeah.
weapons of mass destruction. Is that better? Um,
Well, the weapons of mass
we had
destruction
we
were
had
that was the Iraq thing. The reason we gave for going into Iran is because that's where Osama bin Laden was,
no,
and
not
then
not Iran,
uh,
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. I
Yeah,
apologize.
yeah, that was
Um,
9/11. 9/11 was
Afghanistan,
Afghanistan, and
and
then
then
piggybacked off of
WMDs.
that was Iraq with the weapons of
Yeah.
mass destruction. Um,
Well, and like even with 9/11 too, like you have more and more people coming out and saying that it was a false flag and that it was a psyop and all this other bullshit and like, think of that what you will, but
I mean,
anyways, not the point. Going back to like the 4 or the 6 years. The only I think I like the idea of a one-term president where it's just like, you're in, you're there
you
for a
got
little
6 years.
while.
Do your stuff and get out. That's
Yeah,
all you
but
get.
the only thing I don't like about that is that 6 years is a long time. It
I mean,
if
you're not
you
wrong, but
so
but
but then you still have impeachment. I mean, I but then again, like the way the vice president is picked, does that really make it better? I don't know.
well, that's what I'm like. If And we have to look at this from a holistic standpoint of all of the
Yeah.
changes that we're making.
Yeah, and look
Um,
at it like, okay, are people going to be operating in good faith? Are they going to like are we, because our whole thing is that we're trying to restore civic virtue. And if people in politics and people in public service are operating in civic virtue, like how far do we go with this? And so maybe we do make it the 6 years. I but then again, I go back to our conversation earlier where we were talking about how, well, we need to put guardrails in place now for what's going on in politics today, and then if we need to go back and fix and change things later, then we do that.
so we're talking.
You know what? Let's go 5 years,
We
huh?
can't unless you
Why
want to have
not?
a special election just for president.
Kinda. Why not? Because like especially when you think about the metrics that are done, like if you look at midterm politics versus or midterm elections versus presidential elections, like there's an influence of the presidential election on the rest
More
of the
people go vote.
yeah.
So you want to take away people voting.
No, I I don't know if I would be taking away people voting, but like
Well, I mean, you're going to
because I'm
have
trying to
on the
remember what
on
it
the
is. Like
on the
if
even years, every other year the presidential election would fall. Every other election would fall on a uh, legislative election.
yeah.
So you have an election every 2 years, and then in one of those off years, you would have a presidential election.
Yeah. I don't know. Might shake things up.
So a 5-year term. Because 6 is too long and 4 is too short.
I like. I'm just throwing shit on, to the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Oh no,
That's all.
I get it. So 5 years, 5 years, one term.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else in that first. Okay, so I mean, do we want to talk about this? The leading line: the executive power shall be vested in the president of the United States. The executive power shall be vested. So the conservative is the same. Yeah, executive. The power to execute the law shall be vested in the president of the United States of America. Except as otherwise provided by law, the power to enforce and execute the law shall be vested in. So creating that exception. So if you create a law that says, hey, the president can't do this stuff, this is, whatever. So it doesn't give a
So
blanket statement
so
to
is
where,
that basic? Yeah. Is that kind of taking away the power of executive order to a certain extent? I mean, are they explicitly stating unless it is described in law that's been passed by Congress, the president has no power over it?
except as
I'm
otherwise
I'm
provided by
asking.
law. Let's see what I don't, is the libertarian one does the best job of, um, let's see, elections, updating the established real equity, fundamental rights. Yeah, they don't have
So
anything. Let me see what the libertarian says by doing what they're.
so it's what I just looked
There
up,
you
and I
go.
had chat look this up. What it's basically saying, this rule applies unless another law says something different. So unless Congress specifically writes a law that says that the president does not have executive power over this, then they don't.
Yeah, and this the libertarian one is that we've clarified that the power of the executive branch constitutes the power to execute the laws and not some broader freestanding power.
Okay. Yeah. So then, yeah, it does limit executive power. I like the idea of that.
Well, I mean the difference. The executive power shall be vested in the president of the United States of America. Which, I mean, what does executive power mean? That's where it's like, oh well, he holds the ability to execute whatever he wants because he's the president. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the whereas this says, execute the laws. Like that's what you have the power to do. The power to execute the laws has been vested. And then the progressive gives that out, except as otherwise provided by law. The power to enforce and execute the laws shall be vested in the president of the United States. So unless some other law says otherwise, the president has the power to execute. This one is the president has the power to execute laws. And then this one just says the president has executive power, whatever that
Hmm.
may be. So it's putting constraints. Libertarian and
Yeah.
progressive put constraints on the office.
Yeah. And I think there should be some bounds
Well, I mean, the
on
purpose
it.
of executive power is the power to execute the laws, and
Yeah.
that's what you would think. But again, here we are.
Indeed.
So we would
You know,
want something.
everybody's talking about a war right now that's been going on for what, 3 weeks, a month now.
It's
And
not a war. It's a military exercise. Come on, get it right.
right, yeah, exactly. But everybody else is calling it like we're all calling it a war, and yet Congress hasn't declared war,
Well, the
which is
declaration of war. Well, I mean, Ukraine, and I had this conversation with my friend from Ukraine. Ukraine hasn't declared war.
yeah, but I don't think that we've
So
but we haven't declared war on Russia, have we? I
no,
mean,
and Russia hasn't declared war on Ukraine. Ukraine hasn't declared war on Russia,
oh,
and that's been going on for 3+ years. The whole, and he made a good point. The whole thing with declaring war on someone is it changes the way your economy works. Because when you declare, from my understanding, a declaration of war means certain things. Like you have to be fully vested in doing that, and you can't do other things. Um, Let me see.
interesting.
Um, as a performative speech, in order to create a state of war between two, legality of who's competent to declare wars. Da 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 da. Let's see. Here you go. Declarations of war have been exceedingly rare since the end of World War II. Scholars have debated the cause of the decline, with some arguing that the states are trying to evade the restrictions of international humanitarian law, which governs conduct in war, while others argue that war could have come to perceive as markers of aggression and maximalist aims.
Yeah, where you're trying to expand your empire, basically.
So yeah, there's connotations around war. Let's see,
Yeah.
what are the requirements? Let's see. But I think it essentially makes it to where we're in an emergency state.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Here you go. Let's see. The last time declared war, when war was declared against, 1942. FDR thought it was improper to engage in hostilities against a country without a formal declaration of war. Since then, every American president has used military force without a declaration of war. Yeah, they were already falling into disuse, which, it's you're just have perpetual war, is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like the idea of explicitly putting in the that hey, you only have the power to execute the laws that have been passed. Like
Yeah.
executive power is not a blanket statement. How far do you want to keep going on this? Because I gotta study for my two
Yeah.
exams tomorrow.
No, I think we've made some progress. Oh my goodness.
I mean, we're always gonna end up talking about elections for that's always gonna eat up some
Yeah,
time.
elections are always a big thing. But I think from the standpoint of where we're at now, I actually like we didn't pre-read into this. At least I didn't. I don't know if you did. Like
No, I
so
didn't.
so you guys are getting the full, like, our full thought process as we go through it. Like they're so I mean I would like to have a little more time to chew on this stuff. Um, as well as, like you said, you might as well do away with the electoral college, and I'm not opposed to that. Um, but I mean, we have three options here. You have the state selecting nominees. You have the electoral. Where is? Let's see. Elector. Let's see. Here we like the. This is the libertarian one. We ensure the presidential electors are chosen however each state legislature directs, and otherwise incorporate the 12th Amendment in terms of process electing the president, vice president. Change the eligibility requirements from being a natural born citizen to being both a citizen and a resident of the United States for 15 years, which is sort of what all of them move to. There, I don't.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we're a country of immigrants. I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with an immigrant being, and like you can make the argument for like, oh well, what if somebody sends a spy over here and blah blah, you know,
Well, if they're here for
but
that
then
long and they manage to do that, more power to
well,
them. We deserve
and
it.
like, yeah, and honestly, if you're really playing the long game like that, why wouldn't you just send a couple over here and get them naturalized, and then they have a kid? Like, I mean,
And then they
like you can
raise
play that
them.
game,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you can play that game all day long.
Well, yeah, but why would you go through all that investment of time and everything when you could just buy them off?
Right. Exactly.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't. So we have a process of them being chosen, and then we have two choices for rank vote for popular vote for the person versus the libertarian, which leaves it the way it is. I mean, I'm a fan of popular vote by whether it's star or rank choice or whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Same
choose.
thing we did with the voting for Congress. You
Exactly.
know.
Yeah, I'm good with that too. Um, I think that we'll look at this, chew on this a little bit. I mean this is a big part. Even if you look at it, just that first part. And you said you were good with the libertarian one, or do you want that exception in there for by law?
I mean, honestly, I think they're saying basically the same thing.
Well, yeah, until you get into
Kinda.
a court.
Yeah. Well, no, because technically, if there's no law preventing it,
Correct.
then yeah, I think I like. I think I
Li-
like the libertarian one.
libertarian one.
Yeah, unless it's explicitly a law that's been passed by Congress, you don't
Yeah.
like.
No, I get it. I mean, it's one of those things. The interpretation is big. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really big. So, oh well, they have executive power. They have the power to execute, the laws however they see fit. I mean, they are the. See, that's where you get into that authoritarian
Mhm.
realm. Um, yeah, I think that is a good start. But yeah, we oh my goodness.
Hmm.
This is section 1 for the libertarian. Holy good lord.
Yeah, they put some stuff in there.
Yeah, they did. They got a lot of stuff in there. Um the conservative is not as bad. It's just one page. But yeah, we have a lot to cover on this. I mean, section 1 isn't that big. So, the 12th Amendment superseded this clause. So, we'll have to look
Yeah.
at the 12th Amendment for this. And then I think this is the 25th. Yeah. So, we will we'll do that. I believe let's look at a calendar here. Next Sunday is the
I think
12th.
I think I'm good.
Um
I'm good for the 12th.
I was going to say
Unless
I
you're
don't
not.
think that we have anything going on. I think hopefully we'll be able to get through this week over week. I don't I
Yeah.
don't know of any crazy things I have coming up. So I think that the weekend of the no, that's the end of May I'll be out for a weekend. But April I should be good.
All right.
So
Sounds good.
we'll continue this next Sunday. Is that what we're saying? Made a little
Yeah. Next
progress.
Sunday. Yep. Let's do it.
All right. Let's all right. Appreciate everybody coming out, hanging out with us, and listening to us ramble on
Yeah.
about nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is
Sometimes it feels that way.
feels that way, doesn't it? It's terrible. But all right. Well, we will see everybody in about a week. Look for we will be posting, and I'll post a link to it in our Blue Sky, our Twitter, our Reddit forums, our Reddit, and probably on YouTube about where to go find our full draft of Article 1 Congress.
Yes, exciting
So,
stuff. And everybody say hi to my dogs.
Hi, dogs. Can't really see them. They're just kind of tails floating by in the background.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I appreciate everyone, and we will see you next week. We're gonna do on our early stream at 1 o'clock again next week.
Yeah, 1 o'clock
versus 4. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Until then, be kind to each other and yourself.
Yeah. Make good choices.
Make good choices. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.